Galaxy Fighter. This lesson is called the event loop and the game loop. What is an event loop? An event loop is a loop that waits for and dispatches events to a program. The operating system owns the event queue. The event loop pumps events from the event queue into the program for processing. So, the event loop is the link between your program and the operating system. Normally, the events are created from external user events, like user touching the iPhone screen or the user tilting the iPhone so that the accelerometer events are generated. But your program can also induce events. In games, it is common to induce tick events 60 times per second. These tick events are used by your program to drive the game loop. Let's see what all this means. Here is a user touching the iPhone screen. That creates events. But where do these events go? They go to the operating system. Here is your application. How does your application get hold of these events? First, your application needs to tell the operating system what type of events it wants to receive. Here it is telling the operating system that it wants to receive the touch events. As soon as the operating system knows this, it starts to pump the events from the event queue to your application. Now your application needs to trap those messages. It does that by implementing special methods. For instance, here is a method that traps the touch began messages. Now suppose that your application wants to receive some kind of tick messages 60 times per second. It can tell that to the operating system with this line. This will make a timer fire 60 times per second, and the operating system will pump update messages 60 times per second to your application. To trap those messages, you have to implement the update method. So, to summarize. To receive the events from the event queue, you have to write some code. And to trap the generated event messages, you also need to write some code. The update method is generated 60 times per second, and it is the hub of game applications, because you can update your sprites 60 times per second. This is called the game loop. I want to point out that it is in your layer that you write the code for handling the events. In fact, if you look at the cclayer.h, you will see that the properties for enabling the touches and also for enabling accelerometer are defined there. cclayer is a child of the cc node, which has the method scheduleUpdate. This means that your layer can receive that message. Let's now go to Xcode and make a little test to see how this works. We are inside Xcode. Our task is to test the workings of the event loop and the game loop by making the game layer sensitive to touches and by scheduling the update events 60 times per second. Our plan is to use the cclayer's property is touch enabled. Also, cclayer inherits from ccnode, which has a method called scheduleUpdate. We can use the isTouchEnabled property to make the game layer receive touch messages. And we can use the scheduleUpdate method to make the game layer receive update messages. We have one resource, an image called fish.png. Let's take a look at it. Let's now go to our game layer, the interface part. We see that we have a sprite called fish. In the implementation part, let's look at the init method. We are first setting up the fish sprite. We are then enabling the touches by setting the property isTouchEnabled to yes. We are also scheduling the update events. In the update method, we are moving the fish sprite 1 pixel to the right for each tick. In the CCTouchesBegan method, we are changing the fish position to wherever the user touches the screen. Let's test this out. Build and run. As you can see, the fish moves to the right, and the touch of the screen moves the fish to that position. That's all for this lesson. Thank you for watching.